Hi, and welcome to Chapter 5, Influencing, Power Politics, Network, and Negotiation. So we define leadership as influencing others. And when you do that, right, we need to have a way to influence. And the way we do that is power. So that essentially is what Chapter 5 is all about. Let me click on the right thing here to get us moving ahead. So leadership here, an influencing process, right? So leaders and of leaders and followers to achieve organizational objectives or any type of objectives, right? And this what do we mean by influencing? The process of affecting others' attitudes and behaviors, so get them to do something they weren't going to do before. So you're causing a change. So to influence others, we need to gain power, and to gain power, we need to, I don't really like the word play organizational politics, but know organizational politics. We're going to learn about networking, negotiation, and how to get what you want. So power, right? We've said this is the leader's potential influence over others, over the followers. And it's how we get people to do what we want them to do. Right? So it can be seen as negative and manipulative or positive. So positive power might be I inspire others to do great things. Negative would be, I convince them to do something not so good or maybe terrible, depends upon who's measuring, right? So I think of it like in Star Wars, the Force, right? It's a power, and it can be used for good or for evil. But certainly, it's what leaders use to get people to do things. So we're going to divide up power into two categories, positional and personal. So positional power, it says derived from top management. What they mean by that comes with your position, your title, your spot in the organization, even if you don't have a title. So if you're someone's boss, you have power because of your position in the organization. If you're chairman of a committee, you have power because you're the chair of the committee. Maybe limited power, but more power than if you weren't chair of the committee. Right? So people in life that have power, a lot of power, right? We think of, for instance, the police, right? You don't really have to listen to a police officer when they're not on duty, but when they're acting as the police, you do. A judge, for instance, you would listen to them when they're up on the bench in their robes. Again, if they're your neighbor suggesting you clean your grill more often, you don't really have to listen to them. But if they're up on the bench, right, certainly what they say carries a lot more weight. And then personal power is derived from it says, derived from followers based on leaders' behavior. So the followers give it to the leaders, right? So they allow themselves to be influenced by the leader, and that's due to personal power. We'll talk more about how that happens. Right? So again, positional power is top management, and you can tell when someone leaves the position, if that's true, then it's positional power. I remember at the end of Gulf War I, General Schwarzkopf, the American in charge of all the forces over there, said he was going to retire from the Army, and I said, what do you think you missed the most? He goes, well, you got to understand, I'm head of the theater of operations here in the Middle East, and when I say jump, I forget what the number was, 50,000 people say how high, right? But now that I'm retired, I can't get a plumber to come to my house, right? He clearly understands, right, his power with the military because he was a general, not because he's Norman Schwarzkopf, and that now that he's retired, no one listens to him. I guess some people listen to him, but far fewer will say. So personal power is again, the followers give it to you based on the leader's behavior. So followers can also have personal power over leaders. You've certainly seen followers influence leader, right? And that's not because of their position, that's because of their personal power. We'll talk about different types of personal power. Now, can a manager have both? Yes. Is it good to have both? Absolutely. So the more power you have, the more you can influence others. So a really good manager will have both personal power and positional power. It makes them a much stronger and more effective leader. Right? So influencing tactics, how do we influence people? Here's just some ideas of thoughts here, right? So rational persuasion, we're going to talk them into it. Inspirational appeal, you're such a good person, I know you can do this. Consultation, we're giving advice. Ingratiation, right? We tell them how highly we think of them, and we're sure they're going to do the right thing again, which is kind of like personal appeal. Exchange, you do this for me, I'll do this for you. We talked about that in transactional leadership. Coalitions, we're building a coalition of teams, so we all do this thing together. We're just legitimize it. We're going to make it seem like the right thing to do. We'll put pressure on them. Right? So there's lots of things we can do to get some influence over others. Right, here we go. A little bit more about legitimate power. It's based on the user's positional power, like I said. And employees agree to comply with management authority in return for benefits of membership. So when you work here, that's your boss, and you have to listen to him. You don't want to listen to him? Fine, quit. Right, it's kind of the way that works. So again, most day-to-day management interactions are based on legitimate power. Yeah, that guy's, I don't like them. I don't want to listen to them. I don't think they're very good at their job, but they're my boss. So I kind of got to do, for the most part, what they say. So to increase your legitimate power, right? Get more management experience so you can speak with more authority and also move up in the organization. Work to gain the perception of power. Act like you have power. Dress like you have power. Make decisions like you have power. And you're going to exercise this authority regularly so people get used to you wielding your power, so they get used to getting direction and influence from you, right? Use rational persuasion to talk people into things. Right? Explain the need, the benefits, and so forth, right? And then if you have to, back up your authority with rewards and punishment. And they don't have to be little rewards and punishment. I mean, they can be things like giving them public accolades and things like that. So a lot of things fall in the category of reward. Reward power, right, is based on the user's ability to influence others with something of value. So I offer you something, right, that you want. It has to be something you want, not something I have or something I want. It has to be something you want if it's gonna motivate you. Right? And sometimes a leader's based as being strong or weak based on his or her ability to reward and punish. So if you're a first-line supervisor and you can't do much to your workers, there's not a lot you can do to them, and they know it. You can't fire them, you can't even reprimand them, right? They're gonna have less likely to listen to you than if they had than if the supervisor had a lot of power and could fire them. So to increase your reward power, try to get more control of the employees, things the employees value, like evaluations, raises, promotions, and those things, right? Find out what others value, right? And use it to real. So what else do you want? Do you want, I don't know, casual Friday? Do you want more public accolades in front of your peers? What is it you want to know? And I can use those as rewards. Coercive power, right, again, involves punishment and withholding rewards. So this is sort of the negative side of that, right? I'm either going to punish you or withhold rewards as a way to coerce you to do something, right? Sometimes the peers will do that. We're going to shun you. We're not going to invite you along. We're going to give you the silent treatment or the cold shoulder if you don't conform to group norms. You dress differently, act differently, you're not loyal enough, or whatever that is. Right? So sometimes the thought is, right, without coercive power, employees may ignore the leader if they don't see any reason to follow him other than their position. If they don't have any coercive power, hey, there's nothing he can do to me anyway, then they're probably not going to do this. You might see this in a school where the teacher's trying to control the classroom, but they get sent to the principal's office and nothing happens. Right? They realize the teacher doesn't. It's of no threat to be sent to the principal's office. Therefore, the teacher loses their coercive power. Therefore, they'll lose the ability to control some of the students. So to increase your coercive power gain, you need some authority, right, to use punishments or withhold rewards, right? But certainly don't abuse that. Don't make rash threats. Don't do things you can't make, don't say things you can't make stick. Right? And then as you try to get people to really, they're trying to avoid these coercive things, right? You need to set deadlines for people, set on the progress, and let them know that you're going to enforce those deadlines so they're on it. Because once they fail, it's too late, and then you have to punish them. That's not the goal, right? The goal is to get them to succeed. So you want to remind them over and over again what the requirements of success are. Right. Referent power is a little more difficult to explain. Referent power is somewhat tied to maybe not charisma, but somewhat, right? It's based on the user's personal relationship with others. It uses personal appeals and inspirational appeals for influencing tactics. So it's a little like the 4 I's in transformational leadership, which we already had. And it stems from either the friendship of the follower to the leader or the leader's attractiveness to the follower, right? So the follower wants to be associated with that person. Think of this like when they use celebrities to come on TV and ask for donations for their favorite charity. And the reason they do that is because it works, right? More people are liable to give when their favorite celebrity is asking than when just some unknown person or maybe somebody who works at the charity is asking. Why? Because they're giving that celebrity referent power. I'm going to let you influence me what to do with my charity money because I like you. I want to be associated with you. I want to be in your group, even though I know for sure you'll never know that Lee Schindler, donated money to this charity you're asking for, right? I'll know it, and that's enough. Right? So referent power is sort of they want to be on your team. So it is a little bit like charisma. So to increase your referent power, you need to develop people skills, and remember that referent power is a personal power that, and I didn't make that clear that not only managers have referent power, but so do the other people, right? It's a personal power, so anybody can get it. Somebody low in the totem pole can have referent power, where somebody more experienced and more senior feels like listening to them because, boy, this kid looks like they know what they're doing. They look like they're all about. They're an up-and-comer. I want to be associated with them. So expert power, also a type of personal power, based on the user's skill and knowledge, not their job, what they know, right? Not their job title. Makes others dependent on the person with power, so it can be a factor in personal power, like I just said. So people respect experts. So I'm going to ask you a question about, I don't know, maybe medical health, and I think you know a lot about medical health. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'll let your answer influence me. So I give you power, right? And not because of your status as my doctor, my general practitioner, but because I think you know more about medicine than me. So I let your opinion matter. So I give you power like that. I ask you about computers. I ask you about whatever. Right? The good news is, right, you can increase this one. You can increase your expert power. Right? To increase your expert power, take training and educational programs in anything and everything, right? Become experts at all kind of things. Right? Attend trade and professional association meetings. So read professional and trade journals. Know your industry. Read what's going on. There's more stuff on the internet than you could ever lay your eyeballs on, right? But figure out what's important to your job. If you don't know, if you absolutely don't know, then go see your boss. Ask them, what are they doing? Or whoever else has expert power in your organization. And you could tell people bow to their opinion on certain subjects. Say, how'd you know that? Where'd you learn about that? I'm interested in the area. I'd like to know more about it. How might I do that, right? And then have them tell you where they're getting this information. This is just a matter of effort. It's a matter of work. We all can do this, right? If you don't have any expert power, it's because you're not an expert. And you're not an expert because you haven't taken the time or trouble to become an expert in things that are valuable to other people that you want to have power over. So figure it out, right? This one's completely on you. Now, you may not have positional power because you didn't get promoted because you weren't there long enough, and I clearly understand that, and maybe your day will come. But on the other hand, expert power and even referent power are things you can control. Expert power is probably the easiest one. It's just work, right? And down here at the bottom, you can let people know that you have this expertise. Display diplomas, licenses, publications, awards, training certificates, all that kind of stuff, right? Show them how you knew this kind of stuff. Drag it out in meetings and stuff. That's why if you didn't get one yet, I have these oval MBA students, Lynchburg College MBA stickers. I give the students, I tell them to put them on their cubicle, put them on the top of their laptops, carry them around work. Why? To let people know, not so subtly, that you're getting an MBA and you know this stuff that they don't. It gives you expert power at work. Right? Doesn't mean you flaunt it in their face, but put it out where they see it, and believe me, they'll notice. Right? And they'll know that you're learning new things and you're working new things. It also sends a signal to your upper management, hey, I am bettering myself because I want to move up. So it lets them know you have certain expectations about your career. Right? So I'm very excited about the students' ability to go and get expert power. And if you don't, it quite frankly is your fault. And so and you're going to have personal power before you have positional power. Right? You're not going to have positional power until you get moved up into a supervisory role. Personal power you can have right now. So I guess the bottom line there, it's on you. So get to work. Information power is a lot like expert power. You have information about things. You can give information to people. You can withhold information. The old saying is true: information is power. I would say it's more power than it used to be because of the internet. On the other hand, so it's easier to get information. On the other hand, there's so much information out there; it's hard to get the right information. So it really helps to use in rational persuasion, things like that. So that is like expert power, very much in the same category, in that it's on you to go get the right information power. And if you don't know, watch what other people are using, watch what information people are quoting, what's valuable, right? And take the time to pay attention to that. So to increase your information power, there you go. Have information flow through you, so you review things as they go by. Know what's going on in the organization. Talk to other people. Listen. Pay attention. Don't just sit there and glad you're having some downtime in a meeting, right? Pay attention to what's going on and what's important to people. And develop and use a network of people, right? I'll tell you what's going on in your group. You tell me what's going on in my group, right? It's not a series of spies. It's a communications network, an information network. So you and the other people in your network know what's going on. It gives you an advantage over the people not in your network. Sometimes we have connection power, right, based on users' relationship with influential people. And that's sort of like a network people, but with influential people, right? And certainly it's a form of politics, right? So when you get a chance to be around influential people, right, look your best, act your best, be willing to help them, right? Don't give them any opinions that they didn't ask for. right? Do what you can to make yourself look good about it. When you hand in, for the younger folks, when you hand in things at work that are going to leave your department, leave your area, make it look as good as possible, as well written as possible, good cover sheet, illustration, graphs, tables, whatever it takes, make it look as good as possible because that represents you. And so that affects what other people think of you, other managers who may be there when you're getting your annual promotion review or whatever. They may be in the room with HR and they say, oh yeah, I remember so-and-so, they turned in a really good report on such and such. Yeah, and that might be the only contact they had with you all year or ever. So make your things look good, particularly your outgoing things, the things that leave your department or your work group. All right, so to increase your connection power, expand your network of contacts, right? So talk to people, right? Talk to them and join. See and it's easier than forming your own network is to join one, right? So join the in crowd, join the right association clubs, do the right activities, go to the right company activities if they're whatever they happen to be. If they're going to lunch or playing a sport or whatever it is, try to get into some of these groups and do the right thing. Or a chess club, it could be anything, right? And get people to know your name, right? So put your name on everything you turn in, put your name on presentations, introduce yourself to people, right? And again, have your accomplishments known by people in power by sending notes. Hey, this worked out well, or I'd like to congratulate my team for this success. When really it was also your success because you're the team leader. Things like that. So make conscious efforts. Some of us aren't as good at marketing ourselves as others. Make conscious efforts to get your name out there, floating around with positive things attached to it. Right. Certainly power goes up and down over time. Personal power is easy to gain or lost, particularly lost. It takes longer to gain it than lose it, that's for sure. So protect it, right? Don't do things that are not very smart. Make sure you don't say things that aren't true. Be sure to help people, right? Be a good player and you're less likely to have that kind of thing happen. Right. And we talked about politics a little bit, right? It's gaining and using power, and managers use their positional power, right, and politics to increase their power. Politics also brings in information, all that. And certainly politics isn't a dirty word, it's just a reality. So sometimes the upper management, they like people more than others. They like the way they operate. They think they support their goals more. They're more vital to make them look good, that kind of thing. All that stuff counts more than you might think. So common political behavior. So those of you who aren't so politically astute or not quite sure how to do it right. So 3 things we're going to talk about: networking, reciprocity, and coalition. So networking, we've talked about a little bit, developing relationships outside of your own organization, maybe outside of your own department, throughout the company, through your vendors, through your sales force, through your customers, all that type of thing. So you have this web of information sources. Right? It contributes most to successful management advancement, right? So this network can really help you. So when a position becomes available, be like, oh, who do we have that might be good for that spot? You want people to think of you. You want people to think about what you're saying or what you can do, and that you might be a good choice for the job. Reciprocity involves creating obligations and developing alliances. I know when I'm just out of college, I'm sitting at my desk minding my own business, and somebody, particularly a manager from a different department, would show up in the area. They're clearly looking for something. They're looking for a person or some help or something. Right? I'd make it a point to jump up and say, hey, I'm Lee Schimler. Can I help you? And they said, yeah, I'm looking for this person or this information, whatever. I said, oh, okay, I can help you with that. Or no, I don't know where that is, but I know the person that does. Let me take you over there and introduce you. I wouldn't just point to the person, let me take you over there, introduce it. And then I would say, hey, this is Mr. So-and-so, Dave, can you help him? He's looking for such and such, right? You don't just point across the room, but you are there to make sure their issue gets solved. So that's part of networking and part of reciprocity. And I always would try to help people at work when they try to help, because usually it's not that difficult to help them, but when you need help, you really, really, really need help. So I would think of it as a drawer of IOUs, right? People would owe me favors. I would help them out when they were looking for help. So when push comes to shove and things aren't going so well and the schedule's behind and all that kind of thing, I have some IOUs I could call into people saying, hey, how's it going? Hey, remember that time I helped you with such and such? Yeah, I need a little help now, right? How about this? Or do you know anybody who can help me with this or whatever? Right? That works, right? Then you become a person who can make things happen, right? You have this networking skill. You have people owing you favors. You can make things happen, and you become the boss's go-to person for that type of thing. Right? Building coalitions, right? We're going to use these 2 things to build a whole coalition of people that sort of support things. Again, you can put together a team, you can put together a group of people that can get things done. My first job as project manager, I literally had nobody assigned to the project. I had a goal, I had myself only part-time, and I had a charge number with hours in it for other people to work on the project, and nobody assigned. I had to beg and borrow all the help I got on this project. Right. So fortunately, I had this proverbial drawer full of IOUs. I called in favor. I got people to help me with stuff, and I was able to pull the project off. And I remember the management, the engineering management, was shocked that how did Schindler get his project done when no one was even assigned to it, right? They thought for sure that project would have shown no progress yet. It wasn't all that big of a project, quite frankly. But it showed that I got things done without even anybody assigned to it. And so of the 14 projects in engineering that year in our engineering group, only 2 were completed on time and on budget, and mine was one of them. So I remember the director of engineering said, "So Schindler's our number 2 project manager," and it was like my first time ever. And the rest of the managers looked like, "Who's this guy? He just had a tiny little project." He goes, "Yeah, he finished it on time. He didn't even have a staff. Let's give him a bigger project." So they did. They gave him a lot bigger. They gave me a lot bigger project. So it really helps, right? So building this coalition stuff, this stuff works. So guidelines for developing political skills. And again, some of us are more politically savvy than others. We're just better at sorting out what's going on. So things to think about. Learn the organization culture and the power players. How do things work here? How do people pull strings? Who's pulling the strings? What are reactions? Why do these 2 people seem to not get along? Why is this working this way and not this way, right? Find a mentor. Find somebody you can talk to, somebody who can tell you how things work. These things are often described as organizational icebergs. You can only see the top 10%. The other 90% is hidden underwater. Right, be sure to develop good working relationships with others so you get this free flow of information back and forth, especially your manager. Do what it takes to try to get a good relationship with your manager because you want them to be your mentor, pointing out what's going on, and you also want them to be your protector. So be a loyal, honest team player. You're there to help, right? You're there to help your team. Your job is to make your boss look good. And in the process, you can learn things and prepare yourself to move up and all that, but you need to work good. But that doesn't mean you can't make yourself look good in the process while you're making your boss look good. Make sure your work you turn in is complete, accurate, it looks good. Put your name on things. Make sure people know who you are. Introduce yourself. Make sure you introduce your work, right? So make sure you look like somebody who should be paid attention. Some things to think about in terms of culture and power, right? Things like tailor presentations of ideas that fit the power player's needs. So you can sort of somewhat spin your ideas, things you want to do that fits their agenda. Network when you can with the power players. There's a car ride and you're sitting in the same car with some of the power players or at the lunch table or in the right meetings with them, and do favors for them. Hey, I'll take care of that. Hey, you want me to run some collated stapled copies for you? I got that for you. Or you go ahead, I'll clean up this mess, right? I mean, okay, it might be sucking up or brown nosing or whatever you want to call it, but that matters. They see you as a person who will do anything to contribute to the effort of the team. So it usually helps. Now, that's not enough, but if you're going to do the same amount of good work as everybody else, it helps you stand out just a little bit. Right? Develop coalitions with key players. Again, those are the people you want to talk to, people you want to know, people you want to help, and so they sort of owe you at some point. Right? And select a mentor who's good at politics, somebody who can understand you. Right? Those are the people you really want to know who can teach you, explain things to you, and so forth. Right? So interesting things to think about. And by the way, there's a ton more stuff on the internet. If this is a weakness of yours, and sometimes with very technical people and all that, it can be, right? This is an area it is very worthwhile to pay attention to. And it takes practice. Behaviors take time to modify. This stuff is behaviors. So you're going to have to work on yourself developing new habits. So again, develop good working relationships, especially with your managers. A couple of things to remember. Make or beat all deadlines, right? On time is almost late. They're going, oh, is he going to get in on time? No, turn it in early so you don't have to worry about it. If you're not sure, ask your manager. Even if they are, say, oh, and compliment them. Oh, that's a good idea. Do you know how many times managers get complimented by their departments? Very few, right? Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. I should do it that way, right? Never let your manager be embarrassed or surprised in public because of your action, right? If there's bad news, tell them first. I know when I was a kid, I had a bunch of brothers, and if we ever broke a window or something around the house, you always wanted to be the one to tell your parents, right? Never show up your manager in public. So if they say something wrong, quietly whisper them, oh, that wasn't quite right. Remember, it's this number? Oh, yeah, right. Don't correct them in front of others, right? Some people think that. I think it makes them look powerful to do that. Really, it just really irritates your manager, and quite frankly, it's not very smart. Include your manager in your network and coalition. So as you learn things, feed that information to your manager. You want to become in their network. And what you'll find is after they're, oh, okay, that's interesting. Oh, okay, a few of those, next thing you know, they'll start adding to it with you. They'll start telling you things they're hearing. Right? And again, do favors for your manager. You're there to help, right? You're there to help. You're getting paid to help. You're there to achieve the organizational goals, including your manager's departmental goals, right? So certainly you should do what it takes to help them out. And if that means you need to stay late and finish somebody else's or the manager's job because it didn't get done, but it needs to be done right, that's okay to do once in a while, right? And not just your manager, right? The last bullet, you can do this with be nice to everybody, compliment everybody. And there's no, there's just no cost for being nice and helpful to people. I think we'll stop here and then we'll continue with the rest of these slides in just a couple of minutes.